Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Tatum Show. I got a bunch of floozies for you today. Maybe doozies is a better word. So we got to talk about Turning Point USA. All of the accusations that went on yesterday, I have to talk about it. I have to address them, whether you like it or not. And then we're going to talk about Tucker Carlson because you know he's a nut in my personal opinion, and him and Nick Fuentes. Wait till I show you the clips that I have of all of this. But we're going to talk about other stuff too. It's not just going to be Turning Point and Nick Fuentes and Tucker. We're going to talk about the motorcycle list that got popped on the freeway, which was, I'm kind of glad it happened to. I wish they'd have just kept, let me not say that. All right, we got a whole bunch of stuff. Y'all stay tuned, and we're going to get into this.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning things, you might as well go home today.
All right, I'm back. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the bell, all that other stuff y'all have to do. Go on to the Tatum store, all that stuff. Substack, go follow me on Substack. We're over 10,000 people that follow on Substack. And I just want to diversify the content for you, okay? So go follow me on everything you can think that I could possibly be on. I'm there. But I have to talk about the Turning Point thing. I'm not going to get crazy on here. I was crazy live earlier on my Instagram. And I said a lot of stuff that I meant, but I didn't want to say it. But I had to say it on there. But I'm going to be a little nicer on here. Can I be nice today? Can we have fun today? I don't want it to all be gloom and doom. But what's happening against Turning Point, in my personal opinion, is wrong. I want you guys to understand what is happening and why these things are happening. There are people who handle stress and loss and confusion very differently. You got people who, when there's a loss of life and there's opportunities to be had, they're going to take advantage of the opportunity. You know, it's funny because Alex Jones is my favorite guy. I used to love listening to Alex Jones every day. Now I realize that there is a movement of conspiracies that you never have to prove them to be right. You just have to say the conspiracies and you can become rich. Even if it's somebody you know, if you push enough conspiracies and you lie enough, you can be rich. And there's people who will take the opportunity to get money and push conspiracies. Then there's people who cannot receive or accept the fact that Charlie could have been killed by some weirdo who had access to the top of a building and ended up taking his life. And therefore, they're susceptible to listen to conspiracies. And then there's people who are like me, who say, wait a minute. I don't care how much money can be made. I don't care what people are saying on the internet. I want to be consistent and fair when I dig into any situation. The same thing I did when I was a cop. I don't care about my emotions. I don't care about none of that. I have to get down to the nitty gritty and get down to facts. Every time you watch me, when I talk about a police shooting, when I talk about any of these things, I make sure that I do my due diligence first. And I rule out all the stuff first before I present it to you. It makes no sense for me to say, what if the what if was a what if when the what if before the what if was what if? And then get you all riled up. And you know what? Wait till my next show. Wait till the next clip. Wait till the next post. I know all the tea. But I don't want to tell you all the tea now because I want to keep making money off of you. So I'm going to drip to the end. So let's talk about Terrell. Now they put his name out there. I'm going to call his name. Terrell is one of the nicest, coolest, faithful guys that I have ever met in my life. I've been working with Terrell since I first started Turning Point, when he first started. I have done probably 20 or 30 events with Terrell. When I was going on tour for the last 2 years on all these college campuses, many of them, Terrell was there. And Terrell set up the tent. He put on my lapel mic. He monitored the cameras. And he endured for 3 hours every time listening to people that say the craziest things you could ever think you can hear of. He did the same thing with Charlie. Terrell is a good dude. And they now are using him to make money and get you all riled up. Terrell never released this video publicly. That was his own personal video that he decided to make when the rubber hit the road. His friend died in front of him. And one of the things that came to his mind was probably recording his last recording ever, because he don't know if somebody's going to come and do a rampage. Everybody's running. There's shots fired. We don't know if there's multiple assailants. And Terrell decided to do this. Terrell will never portray Charlie Kirk. I will put my life on Terrell. I can't name these other people. I don't know. If I don't know whether you would do, will you betray Charlie or not, I can't speak for you. But I know Terrell. He would never betray Charlie. He's not a combat veteran. So, of course, he's going to do things that now, in hindsight, some people think is mysterious. When they say he stepped on the chair and he took down the cameras, you put your thinking cap on real quick. The shooting has been over for a period of time now. Now you see some of the FBI agents are showing up. He's taken down. Would you want him to leave it up there in perpetuity? He take it down, give it over to the FBI. But let's play this clip real quick of Terrell that people are now blasting him over, because I'm going to defend him to no end. And I don't care if you like it or not, to be honest. I'm going to stand by. I'm a loyal person. I'm going to stand by people that I can vouch for. Roll the clip.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
Shame on you. I'm looking at you. Shame on you for criticizing Terrell for his reaction. Were you there? Did you witness Charlie die in front of you? And I don't want to hear nobody say, he prematurely said. Did you see the video? My team saw the video the day it happened. I didn't see it. I was on the live stream praying because I saw the one at a distance. They watched it, and it popped up over here, and they go, oh, no. Oh, my God. I said, don't show it to me, because I actually cared about Charlie. It hurt me. I cried on my live stream. My wife, nobody's ever seen me cry before. I cried on my live stream because I love Charlie. And I didn't want to see him die. But I knew that something was bad when they gave the reaction right over here. And when I later watched the close-up video, I said, there's no way he lived through that. He died instantly. And now the medical examiner and all the reports have come out. Yeah, he died instantly. It severed his spinal cord. He got a pulse at the hospital, but it was not connected. So the pulse was, they got the heart beating again because it's electrical, but it was no purpose of the heart beating because the brain wasn't connected to the body. It severed all of that. And me being a person who know something about ballistics, it don't matter if it was a 5.56 or a 308 or a 30-06. When you get shot in the neck like that, the cavity that it creates is everything is eviscerated of the size of my fist through Charlie's neck. There's no way he survived that. Imagine watching it in person and seeing blood come out of his neck and his body stiff and his eyes roll back. Terrell knew he was gone. You didn't know because you wasn't there. I'm watching his real reaction of fear, anxiety, stress. He don't know what to do. What would you do? Oh, you wasn't there. Oh, you've never been in a situation like this before. I've seen cops act like this at a crime scene that we've done 5 or 6 times already. But it's cute for you to judge behind your TV screen, behind your cell phone, in your mama base, wherever y'all doing y'all thing at, than to have a heart for this man. Your reaction should be, dang. Like when I just looked at this, I'm like, my heart broke for him because I know him and I know how much he loved Charlie. You foolish person that will judge him in that way. Let's go to Mikey. I didn't know Mikey as well. I knew Rob. I didn't know Mikey as well. But every time I saw the kid, he's an innocent, friendly, go-lucky kid. If any of these guys were confronted in a fist fight, they probably would freeze up. They not built for this stuff. These guys are not tactical like his team. They're not ready for this. I think we got a closer clip. Remember the one that I said that I didn't like the guy's commentary? Did we get that one? Because I want to play that one because it's a closer look at Mikey, because right here you can't really see Mikey because he's up under the tent. But in the one that we're going to put together for you, it's a close view of Mikey. And you can see Mikey looking at Charlie, and you can see Charlie get shot, and you can see Mikey do like this while he's looking at Charlie, and Charlie tumbles over the thing and he goes behind the tent. And I got evidence and facts about when he actually called Erica and when he called his dad, because Turning Point USA came out and Andrew did a post, or they did a live show on Charlie's show where they explained the moment in which he called Erica and the moment that he called his dad, Rob McCoy. And it debunks, and unless you silly and you just want to believe anything you read because you like the person or the people or whoever is talking about it, this is a clear indication or debunking of somebody saying he didn't see Charlie die and that he somehow got on the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no way in the world that right after Charlie gets shot, he somehow go call somebody on the phone and talk to him. Right after he got shot, it didn't happen. When he was in the parking lot down the road, past Charlie's vehicle, he probably made a phone call, which was verified from the guy that was on Charlie Kirk's show just recently. But I want to play the clip, and I'm going to wait for it because I want to play this clip because it's close up. Let's give it a second. Let's go back to I'm going to jump to clip 603 while we get that prepared. Now, here's other rumors and people saying his team is stumbling over the crime scene. Roll the clip real quick. Pause it. Let's talk about crime scene for a minute. Some of you guys are watching CSI and you don't know what a crime scene is. Now, the crime scene, the majority of the crime scene is where the guy took the shot at. Him going up and down the stairs, taking DNA from the staircase and taking shoe impressions from the ground. That is majority of the crime scene and evidence. Charlie getting shot in the neck, the only evidence there will be the cameras and it'll be Charlie's person because there is no exit wound. So Charlie's person and the cameras is the only crime scene preservation that you would need in a crime scene like this. You don't need his chair. The chair is not a part of the crime scene. It has blood on it. That's not that they're not going and taking blood samples from a chair. The only thing that could have been afoot in this situation would be the cameras that showed evidence of what happened and Charlie Kirk's person. Everything else is irrelevant to walk through grass. This is not a crime scene. If somebody steps over the crime scene, it's not a crime scene. Or stepping over grass and the table with the hats, that's not a crime scene. And there's no real preservation in stepping on grass. Just so you guys know, there's no evidence that they took from the grass. Maybe they looked for an exit wound. They knew immediately there was no exit wound, so they weren't looking for a bullet. And maybe they canvassed the area. But at the same time, when things are happening instantaneously, there's going to be people that walk around the crime scene anyway. Just like when a guy goes into a church and starts shooting random people, everybody's running and scrambling and picking up their kids, and the kid is a crime scene. You still take the kid and you take him to safety, you take him to the hospital. All of that stuff can be considered mobile crime scene, and it doesn't mean you're destroying a crime scene because you take your kid to safety. or do CPR on a person. Now you're contaminating the person. But let's go back to the clip because we got it available. Clip 602. 602. It is? It zooms in? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's go with it. They had it already. It was my fault. Go to clip. I think there's going to be a part here that zooms in. So, okay. I think it gets closer. He's holding his...
All right. Okay, now 5 is a lot, right? I'm going to give you credit. Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Great.
He looks at him. He see, Charlie gets shot. Look at Mikey. Mikey looks over at him, and Mikey's going like this. Walks behind the tent like this. Mikey's not on the phone somehow mysteriously dialing somebody up. He goes way back there probably before he gets on the phone to call. And people say, all right, I think that's good. People say he abandoned Charlie. What are you supposed to do? Get on top of Charlie and do CPR? They got a team of people that are there to protect Charlie and to render aid to Charlie and to excavate Charlie or take him to the car and take him to the hospital. It's not your place to jump in the middle of what the professionals are supposed to be doing. They talk about this all the time. I guarantee you. If anything happened to Charlie, we're going to get on Charlie. Let us do our business. They're the ones that got guns. They're the ones that are going to protect him. They're the ones that are going to protect him from follow-up shooters. It's not Mikey or not Terrell or none of the video guys. Get out of the way. The guy from Y-Refi, and you can go back and look at this because people don't understand what they're looking at. They see a guy come in and go, look, he passed off something to him. That guy wasn't even on the security team. That was a guy from Y-Refi, which is one of their sponsors. He probably came in to try to see if he could help, and they like, get out the way, dude. We got this. Go to the car. Go do something there. We're going to take care of Charlie here. And the reason that I want to point these things out, because you got people online trying to act like something is something that's not nothing. Now, this is the question that you should ask the people when you go on their social media platforms and ask them what they're saying. You go, okay, if he did call immediately, what are you accusing him of? What are you accusing Mikey of? That he was terrified? That he was scared? That he followed protocol from the security team? That he ran off somewhere and called somebody on the phone? What is that a crime? Does that mean he had anything to do with Charlie getting shot? What are you accusing Terrell of? Because Terrell goes behind a building, uploads a video that he never put online, and never meant for anybody to see, it was his own personal video. Well, what are you accusing him of? What's the accusation? He made that video because he really didn't believe Charlie was dead. Like, what are you saying? He prematurely said Charlie was dead. Are you saying that he did that on purpose? What are you saying? Like, you can't just come out and say, these people are suspicious. You have to articulate what is the suspicion that you're accusing them of doing. Freaking out when somebody got killed in front of them? Is that? Let me tell you why people are disingenuous. If you really cared and you really wanted to know why they reacted that way, what I would do, a person acting in good faith, I would interview a psychologist, a person who understands human behavior. So before I put it out to the audience that all of this is weird, I'll invite somebody on to talk about the stress psychologically that goes on when people see things that are traumatic. And then therefore I will put it in context for you. So then you have the context around why people may act a certain way after a shooting. And then you can make your own decision. I won't say unilaterally as somebody that don't understand psychology to just say, that's suspicious. That's weird. That's bizarre. Why would he act like that? No, bring an expert on to explain why he would act like that. I have seen people, the lady, I'm going to give y'all 3 examples of where people flipped out to no end. On the freeway, I-19, I go to a call. 2 guys racing each other, one on the motorcycle, one in the car. The guy on the motorcycle gets clipped. He fall off the motorcycle at 90 miles per hour. He gets run over by 3 cars. The last person that ran him over ran his head over. And of course, you know what happened with that. The woman who ran him over was hysterical on the side of the road. She could not speak. She was crying. She couldn't talk. She couldn't dial 911. She couldn't think. She couldn't think. She was distraught. You go to the underpass at Grant and I-10, a guy was going to work. He was a security guard. A drunk driver plowed into him head on, killed him instantly. Well, it was killing him because he died slowly in front of the witness. I checked his pulse. He was dead by the time I got there, which was like 2 minutes. But the witness that saw him, that was watching him beg for his life before he eventually expired, was inconsolable. She couldn't even talk straight on a 911 call. We had no idea what she was talking about because she couldn't talk. And she had nothing to do with the accident. She just witnessed the guy die in front of her. I mean, I could go on and on. I mean, there's a lot more. But when you witness something that's traumatizing, it scars you and your body reacts to it where you can't control what you do and say and what you think. A lot of times people don't even remember what happened for 48, 72 hours after an incident like this. They don't even remember what they did. It's all fight or flight, autopilot, human reaction that they can't even control most of the time. You ask a person in the traumatic, and everybody in this live stream that have ever had anything traumatic happen to them, you know what I'm talking about. Why am I so confident? Because when I was on the SWAT team, they brought in psychologists who would talk to us about the way the brain works. So when we go and we do certain stuff in training, we understand that the brain is tricky. We had a scenario on the SWAT team where we enter the room and they put a gun on the table. Like 60% of the people never saw that gun. Matter of fact, not only did they not see the gun, they looked at the table and they say the gun wasn't on the table. Why does that happen to the human brain? Under stress, your brain would omit things to preserve your life because the threat is the person in front of you that you have to shoot in that scenario when we entered the house. The gun is irrelevant to the threat level. So your brain will omit the gun off of the table. Your brain saw a table with no gun on it because your mind began to play tricks on you because it's trying to save your life. That's why when people come out and they go, it was all in slow motion. That's because your brain have the capacity to rapidly process information. Your brain don't normally operate like that. So it rapidly processes information so that you can form methodical movements under stress, uncontrollable to you. And this is why people have these weird experiences. This is why investigators don't interview people on the spot a lot of the times, or they interview you and then they follow up and interview you a couple days later, because then your memory comes back. Then you begin to smell and see things and you begin to remember what you did, how you reacted. Most people in the traumatic situations, they watch the video of what they did, they wouldn't even believe they did it. I did that. I ran all the way over there. It looked like I just walked. I ran. I covered my ears and I turned away from it. I don't even remember none of that. I put my life on it that Mikey, at least when it first happened, he didn't remember none of that. I bet you almost any money that's in my bank account right now that Terrell didn't quite remember everything that happened. He probably don't remember how he got his phone out. He probably barely remembered that he recorded that. I'm telling you, it happened to me one time when I was fighting a guy. He had cut his throat from here to here. He had glass in his hand. He attacked me at the front door, and then I gave him that work. But while I was giving him the work, I have no idea that I pulled out my pepper spray and I sprayed him. I would never use my pepper spray. We all know never uses pepper spray because everybody get doused with it, and we all got doused with it. But for some reason, I got it out of the clip, got it, and sprayed the guy and put it back in, and I could not explain why I did it or how I did it. It was training that took over when I did it. Now, if you really care about Charlie, if you really care about the people that you knew, you like, you work with, why wouldn't you get a psychologist on to explain the mental stress that people do and why they react the way they do? But instead, people rather get you riled up and create conspiracies in your mind. Why don't you interview somebody that's a former FBI agent that's not associated with the FBI. Frank Turek did, and I'm going to interview the same guy he interviewed because the guy goes and tells you protocol. This is why we can't tell you this. We're not hiding anything from you. We're not trying to lie to you. It's just that during the investigation, there's certain things we cannot say to you, even if we wanted to. Now, when you go out and make a statement, and this is for anybody that does this, if you're acting in good faith and you're trying to get information from Turning Point USA or anybody else that's a witness, you know they can't talk to you because they have a gag order. Anybody that's a material witness in this case has a gag order. So you have been court ordered to not disclose or say anything about the case to anybody that's not a detective or anybody that's not associated with the court that you've gotten approval to. So when you go out on a limb and you go, why are they not disclosing anything? Why is Turning Point being secretive? Why are they not sure? If you know what happened, why don't you just come out and say it? Because there's a gag order. You want people to violate the gag order and go to jail because somebody wants instantaneous glorification for their own personal endeavor? Instead, you need to wait on the trial. And when the trial occurs and you see all the evidence that the FBI has or they don't have, you get all of their witnesses cross-examined by the defense. And when there's a conclusion made, then you can go back and say, oh, wait a minute. You didn't have real information, or you lied or didn't lie, or you omitted. That's when you go through and say these things. People are asking me, Brandon, why are you not asking questions? What question you want me to ask? I don't have text messages. I don't have DNA evidence. I wasn't at the crime scene. I didn't go door to door asking people for their ring cameras. I didn't review any ring camera evidence. I didn't talk to Robinson. The FBI talked to him. I didn't talk to him. I didn't interview his mama. I didn't interview his dad. I didn't interview the transgender person. I didn't interview any of these people. I don't know what they actually said. We only get a glimpse of what may have been put out on social media. Some of it is lies. But when you didn't talk to these people, how do you make a judgment of whether or not it's true or not? And how do you know this, Brandon? Because I've done plenty of investigations and I know for a fact we don't tell the public everything because we can't. We are preparing to prosecute a person for one of the most egregious crimes that have happened in our lifetime, my age demographic. We're not worried about you getting views on your social media account. And for people to jump to the conclusion to say he didn't do it, he didn't do it. He confessed to his parents that he did it. They turned him in. His parents turned him in. Do we not? Are we forgetting that happened? I'm just throwing it out there. Are we acting as if his parents did not turn him in? The cops did not find him. The cops did not find him. They put a picture out. Mama said, that's my son on that picture. Mama called dad and confirmed and said, that's our son. And they didn't call I don't think they communicated with the police initially. They communicated with him. And according to them, he was when he wanted to take his own life. And his dad said, don't do it. Come home. We'll deal with this together. He comes home, which is what they told the FBI. He calls his neighbor, who then called the sheriff, who the sheriff said on national TV and verified this, that he would turn himself in, but he did not want the SWAT team to come to the house. So they coordinated an effort for him to turn himself in with his parents and a sheriff deputy, admitting that he did it. Now, there's a difference between admitting that you committed a crime and filing not guilty in a court of law. That's two different things. You can be guilty. You can confess. And you can say, I plead not guilty in the court of law. Why would a person plead not guilty even though they know they did it? It's the same reason why a person would defend a person that they know did it because it's a job. They don't want him to get the death penalty. I think his family don't want him to get the death penalty. This is why they plead not guilty. Let me give you another example for the people who actually care about this. Why do you think the defense is saying we don't want cameras in the courtroom? Why? If he's innocent, now his defense has not come out in public and said he was innocent. They've not said whatsoever that he's getting framed, that he's innocent, and that any of this. His defense team has not said any of that. They have not held a press conference and said our client is being mistreated. The FBI, they haven't said any of that. You know why? Because they probably know he did it. But they need to defend him and humanize him. So they say, we don't want cameras, which was denied. The cameras will be in the courtroom. They say, we want him to be able to dress in regular civilian clothes. Why? Because they want him to be presentable as human to the jurors. Then they requested, don't show him entering and exiting from the trial, because they want to humanize him publicly. Because then when they go for that death penalty, the public is going to be against the death penalty of a guy that they humanized and made him out to be a normal person. If he's in a jumpsuit with shackles, which the judge granted that they won't show or they won't film him being in shackles, although they will have him handcuffed. That's why the defense wanted that to be, because they need him to be normal. They're not trying to get him off. They need him to be considered to be normal so that people can, so they can get a fair trial. That's not abnormal for a defense to do that when that's your objective. There is a mountain of evidence against him. And I would argue, if you really cared about justice for Charlie Kirk, then you can have your conspiracies, but also at some point you need to address the fact that he may have done this. Why is there no podcasts, video series, people coming out explaining why he could have done this? There's so much evidence against this guy that if they did not find the bullet, he would go to prison for the rest of his life, for sure. If they didn't find any bullet in Charlie Kirk, he would go to prison for the rest of his life because of all of the circumstantial evidence. When your mother identifies you on a call, from a photo that's grainy, and you got to think, the FBI they said 15,000 leads. Like 2 or 3 days after Charlie died. They're going to put all these leads together and say, out of all this, there's one family that said this was my son. They got DNA on the trigger, DNA on the ammo. They got him jumping off the building, shoe impressions of a shoe that he owned. DNA, a palm impression when he landed on the ground, the palm that matched his palm. So the person you see jumping off the building had a palm impression that they have submitted as evidence that matches his palm. They got him running through the community. They got him ditching a gun. They got him communicating on Discord. They got him communicating with the tranny. They interviewed the transgender person. What do you think the transgender person said to them? You think the transgender person said he didn't do it? It was a fake text message. You think that's what he said? That's not what they wrote in the affidavit. When you write in a probable cause statement in an affidavit and any of what you said is wrong, they throw the case out. So FBI agents are not going to write something in the affidavit that's not true. They will omit it. They said in the affidavit that the person confessed to them that Robinson wrote the message to him, the tranny. And that he also told her, go under the keyboard and get the note that I have. And yet, you got people that spend more time questioning his team than actually questioning Robinson. It's crazy to me. And people don't watch me say this, right? But if I was questioning and lying about it, y'all be watching me to no end. I'll be rich too. I go buy me another car. I go buy me a Bentley Bentayga. Man, Rolls Royce. I like that Spectra. I go buy a Spectra, pimping y'all out online. If I wasn't acting in good faith, do you not think I want justice for Charlie Kirk? You think I'm sitting on here and the killer is free, right? They're gonna come kill me one day, and I'm cool with that, right? We cool with the killer of Charlie Kirk being free. We just gonna let him go. But we happy they got an innocent kid that didn't do nothing, while the killer is still out here plotting to kill one of us. You think we think that makes sense? Come on. Now I got a couple of things I want to talk about. Tucker Carlson is one of them, but I'll get to him in a minute because I'm gonna need a little bit of y'all need to calm down because your brain is gonna pop when I show you all this stuff. But let's talk about the motorcyclist that killed a police officer. Clip 101 and 102. But just so you guys know, during a domestic violence altercation, and the most dangerous cause from police to deal with is domestic violence. They told us that when I was in the academy, and I was like, that can't be it. But then when you go to domestic violence calls, you realize how violent they become and how people will get heated and they'll kill you during the domestic violence call. And the baby mama that got beat up will turn on you while you there and try to defend the bad guy and get you killed over it. So one of the cops got killed. This is the assailant, and he think he's escaping until a good Samaritan does what every good Samaritan should do, and that's try to stop this guy. Roll the clip.
You can see this rider clearly is very comfortable with the way they are handling that motorcycle, but that doesn't mean that this is any kind of safe. Right now, it looks like he's boom. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Wow, we didn't see that coming. That really came out of nowhere as we were watching this motorcyclist. Very comfortable on the bike there.
Believe me, they're going to take that suspect. He's still moving. That is a plus. They are definitely going to take him into custody. It did look like the motorcycle did land on top of him once he was on the ground. Now, I have to say, you got a number of officers down there. I can guarantee you they're going to stop the freeway, but they're also going to start calling for paramedics. They're already calling for paramedics.
Now, this was originated from a domestic violence call with an armed man threatening his woman. And upon arrival, when the police arrived, he started shooting police and ended up shooting one of their police officers, one of their sheriff deputies, Andrew Nunez, 28-year-old, 6 years on the police department, 5 years Rancho Cucamonga. He leaves behind a pregnant wife, 2-year-old daughter, mother, and 4 siblings. This is why when the motorcyclist got hit, I was hoping they just kept running him over because he's a piece of crap, and I hope he burned in hell for what he did. And these people are evil. And I'm glad that the Good Samaritan ended up stopping him. And he was taken into custody, transported to the hospital in stable condition. He faced murder charges with domestic violence charges, possibly. And he was ended up chasing or fleeing from them at 150, 200 miles per hour on that motorcycle. And how the good guys always die is sad to me. Why couldn't he have died when he got hit on that motorcycle? But yet he lived. And a good man going to protect a woman whose boyfriend had nutted up with a gun, ended up taking a shot to the head and dying, leaving behind a pregnant wife. Pregnant wife, she's pregnant. It's not a single guy, which is still bad, but his wife is pregnant, expecting another kid, and he's gone forever from a lunatic that want to kill his girlfriend. And this is the sacrifice that men and women who wear the uniform do on a day-to-day basis. They sacrifice their pregnant family or their pregnant wife and family to go serve a woman who I would argue probably this is not the first time he did this. And a lot of times they go back to him again and again, creating this violent situation. Probably had a restraining order, let him come over the house. Now he nut up. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened, but I've seen it happen too many times. I never forget that woman that got punched her in the head. She had a baby in her hand. She get knocked out. She had his knuckles on her forehead. I go to the scene. She crying. She goes to the hospital. He go to the hospital to try to confront her at the hospital. He tried to go in the hospital to get her. I catch his butt outside the hospital. He runs like a coward. And I was just waiting to be able to fill him with lead if he done anything but comply. And then he gets out and go, I'm a black man. Don't shoot me. Hands up, don't shoot. I'm a black man. Don't kill me. And he then punched this girl in the head. And what do you know? After all of that, I drive by to check on her. Drive by the house. She's in my beat. I drive by. Oh, shit. His car is right there. He coming out of the house. I knew something was wrong when the daughter, who was the lady who got knocked out, was holding her grandchild. When we told the daughter, hey, your mama's headed to the hospital. She just got knocked unconscious. The baby is here. Come get your baby. She go, oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was like, dang, she really don't care about her mama getting knocked out with a baby in her hand. Come to find out, it happened all the time. And then what do you know? We're gonna go to the car one day. He gonna be at the house. He want to kill her again. And then one of us gonna get killed. And you know what? She gonna go visit him in jail. 95% of officers killed in domestic violence dispute respond was shot with a firearm. 52% were shot in the head or neck, often ambush-style attack. About 6 police officers per year are killed responding specifically to domestic violence calls. From 2012 to 2021, 19 police officers were feloniously killed during domestic violence response out of 504 total felony deaths. 2021, 2023, 194 officers feloniously killed overall across all calls in a 3-year span. The most dangerous call you can go to is these domestic violence calls because they're heated, passion. The people know they're going to go to prison for the rest of their life, and they want to make sure they kill us to stop it from happening. I got one more before we get to Tucker. And this is associated in part with the Charlie Kirk death. Let's go to the Indiana girl, clip 201 and 202. But 201 is the story behind this. And let me tell you how diabolical it is when people are talking about Jews killed Charlie. They talking about Turning Point killed Charlie. I don't know, the boogeyman in a hovercraft, or a drone killed Charlie, an exploded microphone killed Charlie. And they somehow forgot what Charlie has been talking about, and many of us have been talking about, and that's they forgot what they used to talk about. These deranged people who are transgender that are losing their minds and killing massive amounts of people, going into schools. One of them killed Charlie over. I'm sure the guy killed Charlie because of the transgender thing. He was dating a transgender person. He shoots Charlie during a transgender response. Now here's another instance where another nutty person was trying to go into a school and kill massive amounts of people. Roll the clip.
An 18-year-old Mooresville student has been arrested after police say she was planning a mass school shooting at Mooresville High School. She had planned it for tomorrow. News 8's Kat Sandoval brings us what we know about the suspect.
Pause it.
Police are peace.
Just so you guys know, this was 8 months ago. So this is kind of the result of an investigation that happened about 8 months ago that they thwarted this shooting. Roll the clip.
Together who 18-year-old Trinity Shockley is. She also goes by the name of Jamie, and she is obsessed, according to police, with mass shooters, even studying them.
She had a fixation with school shooters or mass shooters. She had a lot of their pictures on their walls. She had buttons on her backpack that she took to school with pictures of different school shooters.
Mooresville Police Chief tells me Shockley was inspired by other school shooters, including Nicholas Cruz, who killed 14 students and 3 staff on Valentine's Day in 2018 at Parkland High School in Florida. She even reached out to him.
Was communicating with him one way or the other. Through mail, I think. He's in prison.
Shockley admitted that she had a plan, that she would shoot at lunchtime because it would be busy. She says she couldn't remember if she had a list of targets, but mentioned one boy she had a crush on. The FBI's Sandy Hook tip line reached out to Mooresville police. A tipster said Shockley had access to an AR-15 and ordered a bulletproof vest. Shockley told police she would never go through with the shooting and does not have access to a gun. But police did find bullets, a vest, and AR-15 magazines in her home. Shockley admitted to police she was dealing with mental health issues since her mom's death from an overdose and asked for help, but her father denied access.
You know, you're taken back. You never think like things like this are going to happen in your community, especially a small community like this, but you just can't discount it anymore.
Now, like, who's the biggest threat? You know, when we do threat assessment, for me, and now I got to get even more security, we do a threat assessment. Who's the biggest threat? The results of many of my threat assessment are a result of the threat assessment, and many elements were Islamic terrorists and these people like this who get hypnotized with hatred and evilness, think you're a fascist. They want to kill you. These people are not only homicidal, they're mentally ill. And therefore, they're susceptible to propaganda, and they're susceptible to killing you because they've lost their mind. If you look at the guy who shot Charlie, he was mentally ill. You think so? Look at him. Look at him. Look at what he fantasized over. He went and started dating a transgender. Something is not going right in his mind. He hated Charlie so much. There's another thing. They even have evidence of him searching the campus on his devices. Google mapping the campus before he ever did this. Plotting and planning for an opportunity to kill Charlie Kirk. These people are struggling mightily. Somehow they gave this person a plea deal, probably because nobody actually died, so they felt some sympathy enough to give a plea deal. And let's go to clip 202.
In the courtroom tonight, an 18-year-old woman accused of planning a Valentine's Day shooting at Mooresville High School is taking a plea deal.
As part of the agreement, Trinity Shockley pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to commit murder. The plea deal calls for a 20-year sentence, with 12 and a half of those in prison, the rest suspended, plus 5 years probation.
A Morgan County judge will sentence Shockley next month.
Now, I'm not a favor of plea deals. I really am not. This is why the guy in Charlie's case didn't get offered a plea deal, because they're going to put him to death. And I don't want to go lament on this thing too long, but these scenarios are things we need to be paying attention to. These are the people we need to be monitoring. These are the people we need to be exposing. This is why the hotline exists. This is why red flag laws exist. This person should not be able to have a gun, especially when they express mental illness and glorifying school shooters. And the funny thing is, I bet the school shooter, and they won't tell us this because they want to be politically correct, I bet the school shooter also admired other trans people who shot up schools. I bet you $1 million. They only stuck to Sandy Hook and these other ones. They ain't talking about the more recent ones that just happened, that this kid is being inspired by because it involves a trans person. Anyway, now here's the story y'all been waiting for. This Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes story. Let me throw this out here. I don't care if Tucker wanted to interview Nick Fuentes. I think you should interview anybody that has a different opinion, or you think they stupid. I don't mind. You can interview them if you want, if you like to. Charlie clearly didn't want to interview Nick Fuentes for obvious reasons. But if you want to interview him, my problem is not that Tucker interviewed him. My problem is that he was kissing his butt during the interview, and that he said all kind of things about your friend Charlie, and you don't confront him about none of it. Now, I'll say this. I didn't watch the 2 hours, but I saw no clips of a confrontation. If he would have confronted Nick Fuentes, I guarantee you there had been viral clips. I think that's what everybody was expecting. He called Tucker Carlson a Fed and mocked Tucker Carlson's dad. And Tucker didn't. You're not going to get mad at the guy? You're not going to at least confront him about what he said about your dad? What are we doing here? He called you a Fed. Nick said a whole bunch of crazy stuff about Tucker. You get him on the interview and y'all kissing each other's butts. What is this about? You chastised Ted Cruz about his Zionist theology, but you have a guy on here saying Hitler was a cool guy, just trashing Turning Point, pretty much saying F Charlie. Charlie was a fake Christian. All of this. You got all of this on the internet. I'm going to show you the videos. You're not going to confront him on none of that, Tucker? This is why Tucker a lame. He interviewed that woman with the mustache. And what? Didn't push back on none of that. She said you can proselytize in the West Bank and Gaza. That means you can preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. She lied. 2 minutes, you can look it up and know it's against the law. She said Hamas is not even a terrorist group. He didn't even push back. I'm not saying you don't interview people and they can say what they want in your interview, but you ain't gonna push back when somebody blatantly say Hamas is not a terrorist group. He goes on to say he don't think Hamas is a terrorist group. And if you suckers in the comment section are questioning me, go look at the stuff before you say something stupid. Let's start playing some clips real quick. Let's see, clip 501. And this is the clip that made me the most upset out of any clip that's out there. Because this was a direct spit in the face of Charlie Kirk's legacy, if you ask me. Roll the clip.
How do you explain Mike Huckabee, Ted Cruz, and there are a lot like that, John Bolton. I mean, I've known them all.
Charlie Kirk.
W. Bush, like Karl Rove. I mean, all people I know personally who I've seen like be seized by this brain virus, and they're not Jewish. Most of them are self-described Christians, and then the Christian Zionists who are, well, Christian Zionists. Like, what is that? Right. And I can just say for myself, I dislike them more than anybody. Because like what? Because it's Christian heresy, and I'm offended by that as a Christian. That's why. So I don't like. Why not? Like, I'm pissed at the neocons. Very pissed. I've said that a million times. I've been mad since December of 2003 when I went to Iraq. And so like I went and asked straightforward questions to Ted Cruz, because that seemed like there's a sitting senator who's like serving for Israel by his own description. He seemed like a worthy target. I'm not going after MTG, who's like the most sincere like, why not go after Ted Cruz? I don't understand.
Think about what he said. He said he hates the Zionists, right? Or that they're despicable as Christian heresy. Let's go to Charlie Kirk and what Charlie Kirk said about being a Zionist. Let's go to 504. Now, let me just explain this, because somebody in here smoking crack and with their thumb up their rear end is going to sit here and say, well, Brandon, he changed. No, he didn't. His criticism of Israel changed, meaning the government, but he never stopped being a Zionist. Let me explain Zionism to you guys. Some of you guys know, other you guys are just uninformed, and others are stupid. So let me just make it out clear. A Zionist just simply means that you believe that Israel or the Jewish people have a right to have an independent state. That's all Zionism is. That you believe, according to the scripture, that the Jews in Israel was promised to the Jews, and they deserve to protect their own land that was promised to them. That's Zionism. But before I get to Charlie's clip, let me read you some scriptures of why Jesus was a Zionist. All of his apostles were Zionists. Paul was a Zionist. Let me read the scripture. Let's go to Romans 11:1. I asked then, has God rejected his people? By no means, meaning Israel. Let's go to Romans 11:25. Lest you be wise in your own sight, I do not want you to be unaware of the mysteries, brother. A partial hardening has come upon Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles have come in, and this way all Israel will be saved, as it is written. Romans 11:28-29. As regards to the gospel, they are enemies for your sake, but as regards to election, they are beloved for the sake of their forefathers. For the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable. This is what Paul said about the Jews based on the prophetic. Now let's get to what God said. Amos 9:15. I will plant them on their land, and they shall never again be uprooted out of the land that I have given them, saith the Lord your God. Genesis 17:7-8. And I will establish my covenant between me and you, he's talking to Abraham, and your offsprings after you throughout their generations for a everlasting covenant, to be the God to you and to your offsprings after you. And so not only will I have an everlasting covenant with your people and generations, and I will give you and to your offsprings after you the land of your sojourning, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession, and I will be their God. I can read you 15 other scriptures. What does it mean when God tells Abraham, for your lineage, generations, an everlasting covenant with you, and a possession, an everlasting possession? For the gifts and callings of God are irrevocable. That's another scripture. Irrevocable. What are we saying here? Let's play Charlie Kirk's 505. What did Charlie Kirk say about this? Roll the clip.
Have you ever been to Israel?
No, I'm just curious.
Let me just contribute this as a fellow brother in Christ. When we as Christians go to Israel, we are celebrated and treated like the most amazing you could ever imagine. Okay?
Thanks.
So I'm positive that there are radical, Hasidic sects that believe certain things, as are written in parts of the Talmud where they have anti-Christian beliefs. That is not my experience with mainline Israeli belief or mainline Judaism. And I will say this: why do I like Israel so much? I'm biased because Israel changed my life.
I thought we had the one where he was talking about his Zionism. We have that one. I think it's 504. No. Let's see. Oh, yes, I think it's 506. Roll it.
Last year, Turning Point USA hosted the Young Jewish Leadership Summit, during which you said, so a Christian that's not pro-Israel, I doubt they actually love their Bible. And I will stand by that statement. If you are a Christian that doesn't love Israel, then you take your Bible way, way, way too much for granted. End quote. So who are you to question the faith of Christian Americans that don't support a foreign country of a different religion?
Let me ask you, where was Jesus born?
Why does that matter?
Well, do you know?
Why does that matter?
Okay, yeah, you're obviously not a Christian. You don't know where Jesus was born. He's born in Bethlehem, okay, and he was raised in Nazareth, and he walked on the water in Capernaum. What country are those places in right now?
What does it matter?
It does matter. You know why? Because when I went to Israel, I came in contact with a living God that walked on water and rose Lazarus from the dead. When I went to Israel, I saw the Bible come to life. When I went to Israel, I saw Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Sarah, Rebecca, and Leah in the Hall of the Patriarchs. When I went to Israel, what I read as Bible stories popped open, and I said, this is the Word of God. This is real. These are not fairy tales or fables or things that we tell our kids. When I went to Israel, I was able to cry where Jesus cried, where he was betrayed by Judas and arrested, where he rose from the dead and gives us eternal life. I am not an apologist for Israel, but I reject wholeheartedly this narrative. Christians who turn their back on Israel, it says in Genesis and Romans and 1 Thessalonians, Paul said, you will bless the Jews. If you bless Israel, you will be blessed. If you scorn Israel, you will be scorned. I will defend the Holy Land, the place that let me see where my Lord and Savior lived, and I will not apologize for that. Thank you very much.
Let's go to 504. It's so many clips of this. We can do it 10 years. As a matter of fact, maybe we'll look these up, and when we do post-production, we'll just put more in there. Here's him talking about Nick Fuentes.
Nick Fuentes, I'm sure you've heard of him. And these people, they've been active for a long time, and it seems like they've just been ignored, which is working, but now they're kind of surging in popularity. And as someone who I enjoy watching your debates, are they people you'd be willing to engage with and maybe shut them down in a way through a debate or something like that?
Well, I mean, I'll get to debate Candace. But no, look, I'll debate anybody that shows up at our campus events first and foremost. But I do want to take what you say and extrapolate that there is a corner of the internet of people that want to point and blame the Jews for all their problems. Everybody, this is demonic and it's from the pit of hell. And it should not be tolerated, period. But it goes to a structural problem of an entire generation that has economic resentment. They don't own anything. They're not getting married. They're not having children. They're depressed. They're anxious. They're staring at their screens all day long. And if all of a sudden your extrapolation of all that is, well, it's the Jews' fault, that is sloppy and shallow thinking. You're trying to blame an entire ethnicity for a singular problem. Hold on, let's take a step back here. Instead of that, what could you possibly do in your own personal life to improve your own state of being? If you are blaming 0.02% of the world's population for all of your problems, that is not going to be good for your soul. It's not good for your psychology. It's not good for your future in any way, shape, or form. And so I would just say this, that any young person that goes into this hyper online brain rot, you are serving yourself over to your own demise. You are serving yourself into a suicide mission that will not make you happier and not make you healthier. Instead, here's what your attitude should be. Your attitude should be like, I can't own stuff, I got it, can't own a home, I'm not getting married, I don't know who to date. He said, wow, the challenges are immense. I'm gonna now overcome all those challenges and go on an adventure. I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. I'm now not gonna be a victim, I'm gonna be a victor. I'm gonna dig deep. This is still a great country. This is a free country. I'm going to use my agency. I'm going to use my ability. And I'm not just going to go point in the corner and be like, I'm overweight because of the Jews. Women don't want to date me because of the Jews. How about this? As Jordan Peterson would say, sit up straight with your shoulders back, follow the rules for life, make yourself interesting, learn something new every single day, and instead of pointing at a small group of people and engaging in this brain rot, become a better person. You'll be a happier and healthier, more joyful and productive person.
Now, there's a lot of clips that I want. Some of them were these clips, but there's clips of Charlie explaining what Zionism is. There's clips of Charlie saying he's a Zionist, and it just simply means what he said in some of the previous clips that I just showed of him is that the existence of Israel and the promise that God made to the Jewish people. No one is sitting here trying to justify the government. That's a different story. I don't agree with everything the Israeli government does. Nobody does. Nobody, you ain't never heard me say, they perfect. The Israeli government is sent from God. Nobody says that. But what they do is they try to conflate that with anti-Semitism to try to say that you're saying something you're not saying. I don't believe in transgenderism and all this, abortions and all this other stuff. Yeah, the Israeli government believes in that, just like our stupid government does. The government, God is bigger than the government. The promises of God supersede government entities. What are you saying? The existence of Israel is the point that I care about. The existence of them being sovereign and having their own nation that was promised to them by the scriptures I just read. That's where I hold the ground to. But these idiots like Tucker, they just hate Jews. And he bring on that little weenie that come on there and just bash Jews, bash Charlie on a day-to-day basis. Let me go back to some of the things that Nick Fuentes has said, because I think it's invaluable to understand that. Let's see, where's the Nick Fuentes stuff at? Let's go to 502. Clip 502.
Whether he chooses to confront me or not, whether he has dignity and honor or not, it's just a matter of time. My ideas are already there. I've already impregnated your organization. I took Turning Point USA and I fucked it. I took your organization, I took your baby, Turning Point USA, and I fucked it. And I've been fucking it. And that's why it's filled with groypers. That's why your whole crew, that's why the people around you, that's why your chapter presidents, that's why your attendees, they're all groypers. So whether you choose to confront me or not over the honor of your Turning Point USA, it's immaterial to me. I'd like it. I just get a sick satisfaction out of it because I like to win. But we're already there. And this whole ideology, Zionism plus free market, it's dead either way. You know it. I know it. Pretty much the whole world knows it's over. In the last 7 years, who's moved closer to who? Could anybody accuse me of stealing Charlie Kirk's ideas? No. Has Charlie Kirk every step of the way moved in degree closer to me? Tried to ape my bit, my ideas, my style? Oh, no question. No question. We already own you. We own you. We own Turning Point USA. We own this movement. Whether you decide to have dignity about it and face me or not, that's up to you. That's something you'll have to tell your children. When Nick Fuentes became the future, when the groypers took over the movement, did you take a valorant last stand? Were you courageous? Were you bold? Did you go down swinging or did you go down like a bitch? Did you run and hide? That's the only thing when you're explaining that to your family, Mr. Family Man. When you're explaining to your wife, when she's saying, why won't you just debate Nick Fuentes? And you got to explain to her. When your kids grow up, why didn't you just confront Nick Fuentes? You got to explain to them why you were afraid, why you were a coward. That's the only difference. Immaterial to me. We already won. But anyway, we're going to move on.
Let's go to the other clip. Was that 5-0? Hold on. Was that? That's 502, right? Yep. Let's go 503.
I think a lot of people are starting to find out Charlie Kirk is not the patriot that he says he is. And so I look at what happened last night and I think to myself, this is totally a doable operation. You know, Charlie Kirk in the grand scheme of things is just some retarded idiot. The dog is terrified. I had to go upstairs and reassure him because I'm screaming at my screen, calling Charlie Kirk a bitch and everything. The contrast could not be more clear. Charlie Kirk is a totally unexceptional human being. A moral struggle that's happening on the higher dimension, right? Which is Christ versus the devil. Who does Charlie Kirk serve? You know, is he really a Christian? Is he really Christ-like when he supports foreign wars and Israel and all this? Look at the people he's taking money from. You know, so the guy's a fake Christian. The guy's not a patriot. He hates our country. He's un-American. Let's focus all our firepower on Charlie Kirk. Why are we doing this? It's because Charlie Kirk is a fake patriot, a fake Christian, and he hates his people. He's anti-white. This is our angle. We talk about Charlie Kirk's dual allegiance to Israel. The almighty Oz, you know, the massive head with the tiny face behind the curtain, Charlie Kirk, lording over the conservative movement. Remember, the goal is to expose the globalism, the fake conservatism of Charlie Kirk. People see that Charlie Kirk is not a real conservative. He is not a real nationalist. He is not a real Christian. And that is simply the truth. We humiliated Charlie Kirk last night. We took Gotham's White Knight and we brought him down to our level. We didn't exactly flip him, but we definitely humiliated him. We took one of their best and we made him a laughingstock. Charlie Kirk is not an honest broker, not a conservative. He exists, and Turning Point USA exists to control the conversation. Charlie Kirk was totally unhinged, and I think the guy has Asperger's, so he might have trouble with that. It has to play into this narrative, has to play into the framing that Charlie Kirk and Turning Point are not right-wing. They're not conservative. You know, Charlie Kirk gets asked a tough question, and he reverts back to Israel, God bless Israel, Israel's the best, you know. He malfunctions, he can't do it, because I think he has Asperger's. I believe that. We acknowledge that Charlie Kirk is not conservative. He's destroying the country, and we can all agree that we have to put a stop to that, right? Charlie Kirk is a retard and a coward, so we've got him checked on both fronts. It is worth mentioning that Dan Crenshaw, Charlie Kirk, I imagine these people, their IQs are like, what, 90, 95, something like that. I mean, these are not exceptional people. These are not intellectual heavyweights, right? Obviously, there's a big opportunity to humiliate Charlie Kirk in front of the president's son and demonstrate to the establishment that he is not in control. So that one is going to be a big one. You know, this is stuff that we've been saying for years, that Charlie Kirk is a leftist, that Charlie Kirk is not a conservative. There is a real risk that at an organizational level, we will cause problems for Charlie Kirk.
This dude go on a rant like this. He's been banned from every Turning Point event. He's been doing this since like 2017. Or before that, that's when I started with Turning Point. And it's funny, all this vitriolic stuff he's saying about Charlie, and nobody questioning whether or not he had something to do with anything. You questioning kids that dedicate their life to Charlie, but nobody asking, is this guy, what does he know? He's the most vitriolic, hateful person against Charlie Kirk that's out there. And Tucker goes to interview the guy. I don't, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think they even addressed any of this crazy stuff he said about Charlie. When Tucker and Charlie's supposed to be really good friends. And you can interview the guy, but you gonna call him out on some of this stuff? Let's play some of the butt kissing that they were doing when it comes to the little CIA thing. Let's roll clip 509 and we'll go straight down.
So I kind of just don't see a lot of change between, the Biden administration and now the Trump one in foreign policy. We're still giving a ton of money to like Israel and Ukraine. nothing is happening. You know, the war's not stopped. He promised it'd be done in a day, and it's, I don't know, how many months? 8 months or something like that. It's a long time. Your dad was in the CIA, and I was wondering, does our government even want war to stop? Do they want conflicts to end? It seems like we have a difference of interest where we're getting told one thing and the other is happening, and I feel like there's not enough communication between different sects of government. And
here's these silly kids that Tucker and others are creating in the movement. The same weird talking points. We're just giving a ton of money to Ukraine and Israel. Well, the thing is that you can disagree with us giving the money, but Tucker, if he had any wisdom, should explain why we're doing it and why he disagreed that we're doing it. There's a reason why we're giving Ukraine money. I don't agree with the reason, but there's a reason. There's a reason why we give Israel money. I agree with the reason we give Israel money. But at the end of the day, explain what we're actually doing. Then you can pose a disagreement to what we're doing. It's okay to believe that we shouldn't give money to Israel. But the question is, why? Are you going to explain what we actually do, why we do what we do, the explanation behind it? And then you can have a fruitful discussion of, well, I think with that explanation, we shouldn't do it. But these people don't operate like that. Tucker allows these people to go out and just say whatever. He don't address it at a high level. He does what he's finna do in a minute. Roll it.
I really think the deep state's controlling everything and we have no control.
Well, let me start at, obviously you probably sense that I agree with a lot of that. Obviously leave my father out of it. I'm gonna have to kick your ass, which I could do, by the way, if you bring him up again, because he was a wonderful man, whatever, he did for a living. So I really do hate that.
Now, he had an event with a kid who's on his side that mentioned his dad was in the CIA, and he said he was going to kick his butt. Is that what I heard? He said, you do it again, I'm going to have to kick your butt. And like, seriously, I hate that. Okay, let's hear what Nick Fuentes said about his dad in the CIA. 510, roll it.
Why is Tucker so afraid to call out Israeli influence? Even Cenk Uygur from the TYT is better on the Israel issue than he is, and even most conservative commentators, surprisingly.
He's an operative. He's a CIA agent. Look into his father. Tucker Carlson's father, Dick Carlson, was an appointee by Ronald Reagan who ran Voice of America. Voice of America was created in the aftermath of World War II out of something from the OSS, and it basically was broadcasting U.S. propaganda throughout the Cold War. Tucker Carlson's father, Dick Carlson, was its longest-serving director in history. It's a CIA propaganda outlet, broadcasting outlet. Then Dick Carlson worked for the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies and worked with the Hungarian government, which, I mean, if you look at both of those things, are both deeply in bed with Israel. Tucker was in Nicaragua during Iran-Contras when the U.S. was using Israel to sell weapons, or they were raising money through Iran to traffic weapons to the Contras in Nicaragua through Israel, and Tucker was there. Then he applied for the CIA straight out of college. His dad told him to get a job in the press. And if you look at the people that ran the various outfits that he worked for in the early stages of his career, it's all Jews. The Arkansas Paper, Policy Journal, Heritage Foundation. Look into the leadership of all the different rags that he worked for when he was just starting. I mean, the guy's an operative. I don't even think he denies it at this point. He's an operative. So he's obviously part of it.
You see what he said about his dad. He said he's an operative. He's talking all that trash about Charlie Kirk. And then they get on the show. This is the demeanor. 507. This is the demeanor between them.
Fed.
I thought you were a Fed.
I was a Fed. Yeah. I'm not a Fed. But whatever, I don't care what people think.
We showed each other our badges. We know well.
No, but I thought you were a Fed because I was like, why not? It's not cucking to say you're not talking about all Jews when you oppose a foreign policy position. It's not. There's nothing liberal about that. It's just true. That's the Christian position, okay? And two, why are you attacking like the best people and not the worst people.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, he disavowed me for my views on Israel and said I talk too much about white people and Christianity. And to me, that's like a sincere ideological disagreement.
I get it.
And, you know, same thing with Marjorie. Marjorie fired my guy. She disavowed me. And, you know, and you worked with Blumenthal on that article, but you called me on the phone and we talked.
I mean, I was
it.
like, from my perspective, I mean, this is all so stupid and inside baseball and whatever, but for the record, I was like, first of all, who is this kid? I'm working at Fox News. I'm aware there's an internet, but I'm more out of it than you may appreciate. And I'm like, out of nowhere, attacking this one. I had Joe Kent here to my house and did this interview with him. And I'm always in search of a sincere politician. Don't have to agree on everything, but I really believe sincerity is the whole game. If someone's heart is pure, he will be brave.
Right now.
I always have thought that, and it's turned out to be true. Marjorie is a perfect example.
For a second. When he was with Ted Cruz, he ripped him apart every minute that he could speak. He was ripping him. This man just said all this stuff about Tucker's dad. He called Tucker a fed and all this stuff. Then he gets on the show with the kid at the event and say he's going to kick the kid's butt if he bring his dad up again. Why didn't you keep that same energy with Nick Fuentes when he came on your show? And he said way more. The only reason the kid brought up the fact that Tucker's dad was CIA was because of Nick Fuentes. And now the guy's right in front of you, you don't say anything. Now, y'all saw all of that together. Now let's see what Tucker said about Nick Fuentes being a Fed. What has changed? What has changed now that he come on your show? And then y'all smelling butts like dogs. Go to what Tucker said about Nick being a Fed.
And he's attacking my dad as a CIA, his dad's in the CIA or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's untrue. Then my father dies, and I learn, actually, was involved in that world.
Which he lied.
I was completely shocked by it. So no one has to believe me, but that's just a fact.
Right.
This was in March of this year. And I'm like, well, how the hell would this child from Chicago, my dad was 84 when he passed. Like, who does this guy know who my dad is? And like, he's in an intelligence role. How would he know that? And
Wait, so that was his critique of you? Because I didn't see it.
Someone just sent me this video and it was like, you can't believe anything Carlson says because his father was in the CIA and he's a CIA working on behalf of the CIA. Well, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, and I actually feel emotional in my anger towards CIA. And I think that comes out on the air quite regularly.
Right.
And so the idea that I'm working for the CIA is like deranged.
Well, if it helps, he said I'm funded by Russia now. Since the interview, he then did a thing and said I was funded by Russia.
But you would be a lot more likely to take Russian money than I would be to work for the CIA, because you would never take Russian money, and you're not Russian. But I mean, I really hate the CIA, and I mean, I would that's like very offensive to me. So why would you?
It's like personal for you.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like, who is this kid exactly?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's just an accident that the guy exclusively goes after people who are in roughly the same. And then he gets up there and he's making a Holocaust.
He says all this stuff, but he got the guy face to face. And why does he not challenge him on none of this stuff? They just have a powwow. Oh, yeah, you like me? Oh, you were mad at me? I'm mad at you. I swear to God is my witness, bro. If I'm on here talking about somebody like Tucker, me and Tucker not going to sit down and have some kumbaya. I'm going to confront him on all the stuff I've been saying, unless I'm fake. Am I right? If we going to get into it, we going to get into it. I don't like you because of this. Now, I may change my mind after we talk, but bro, I'm finna confront you on all the stuff I've been saying about you. I'm not going to get on here and wuss out and be like, we're friends, right? I thought you were mean. You thought I was mean? Unless you faking it when you said it. There's not one person that I say stuff about that I won't blast. Let's get Nick Fuentes talking about Hitler real quick, because this is just an addition to the stuff that Nick says. 508. Clip 508 real quick.
Hitler was a pedophile and kind of a pagan. It's like, well, he was also really fucking cool. So, time to grow up. We're not children anymore. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right, boys? Am I right? Let's go. He was also really fucking cool. And any boy knows that. Anybody that watches these videos where he's rolling down the street and stuff, it's like, this guy's awesome. This guy's cool.
Now, this ain't the only time he's gushed over Hitler. I mean, he talks about Hitler all the time. He was with Kanye when they went to see Trump, and they all love Hitler. And the thing is that I don't think Charlie would have accepted this. I would think that if Charlie ever sat down with Nick Fuentes, which he knew Nick Fuentes wasn't acting in good faith, as you can see with all these crazy radical clips he said, that Charlie would have accepted this. But yet Tucker, who's supposed to be Charlie's friend, won't confront him about none of this. We got a clip of him gushing over Stalin. On the podcast, this is on the... I'm finna walk off the show. I'm gonna walk off my own show. He's talking about Stalin on Tucker's podcast? Roll the clip.
So it was like late December. It's actually funny. It was December 18th. I remember because that's an important date to me. And it's Joseph Stalin's birthday.
Oh.
I'm a fan.
You're a fan of Stalin's?
Mm-hmm. Always an admirer. But we don't need to go into that, I guess.
Well, that's okay. Let's get back. We'll circle back to that.
It was weird because the reason I mentioned that, it was almost like because I woke up that day and I was like, oh, it's December 18th. And I was just like very acutely aware of like today's like a strange day. This is the day.
Turning Point, USA. Are y'all watching this? Did you watch the interview? He just said that he's a fan. He wasn't joking. He remembers Stalin's birthday and said he's a fan of Stalin. And Tucker didn't push back on it. I'm just wondering, are y'all watching this? I'm just wondering. You got a man saying he's a fan of Stalin. Fine. Tucker, you're a Christian. What Stalin did as a person of murdering and genociding millions of people, it should be a problem. I know you hate the Jews, but at least killing people for no reason is a problem. And you don't push back on him. You cussed the kid out on campus and said you want to kick his butt for talking about the CIA. The other kid, you said get the F off the stage, off the internet, because he said she was worth $50 million. He says he's a fan of Stalin. We'll get to it. I guess we'll come back to it. If somebody was on my podcast and said there's a fan of Stalin, no. We're not finna, like, what are you talking about, bruh? What you mean a fan? Like, explain to me how you a fan of Joseph Stalin. What, bro, should I be interviewed? Like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. You know, there was a part that one day I said, people were telling me, you should interview Nick Fuentes. As silly as he is, it makes me feel like he'll be a chameleon. He'll come on the show and act like he don't really disagree with me. Or that he got he'll be a wussy in the show. Because I wouldn't bring him on and be like, hey, welcome to the show, Nick Fuentes. I'd be like, I don't like you. I think you're a scumbag. I would put my hands on you, but I'm trying to be a good Christian. I despise you. But I'll let you say, maybe I'm wrong. What do you got to say? I have my thing. You said you support Joseph Stalin. Like Ted Cruz just said he's a Zionist and Tucker mauled him. This fool said he supports Joseph Stalin. And I guess we'll come back around to it. No, it'd be like, you said Charlie Kirk was a fake Christian. Explain yourself. You said you've been effing Turning Point for the last several, explain yourself. You said on Candace Owens' show that you are racist. Explain yourself. You said on Candace Owens' show you don't want a race mix. You are racist. Explain how you not a racist right now. That's what interview I would have. Why are they're gushing over each other, smelling butts? Turning Point. Do you see the person that's on stage? I don't know how many times I got to say this. And people got mad at me and said, Brandon Tatum, you you dividing the movement. I simply said he's antithetical to the mission of Turning Point USA. The stuff that he's doing is antithetical to what Charlie stood for. At some point, somebody got to drop their nuts and say, I can't have you out here doing this. We got young, impressionable young men, and this is what you infusing in their mind. Next thing you're gonna have Nick Fuentes up there? How many times? See, I know stuff. The reason I go like this, because people are fake, bruh. And I'm not fake. I don't want your money. I don't need your attention. Go F yourself. Shove your money up your rear end when it comes to me. I don't need nothing from you. I'm in this because I really love the kids and I love to speak life to some of these young people. I go on campus. No security. No love. No support. I'm on campus with 6 people. I could be pissed that I left my family to fly across the country for 6 people to show up at an event because nobody's promoting anything. But I say, God didn't call me to be worried about how many people. Let me speak life to the 6 people that are here because I care. I could be a diva. I know it's a whole bunch of divas. I work with them. Divas. They'll be causing a fuss. If you're not kissing their butt, and you're not flying them first class, I put up with it a lot because I really care about these young people. People pay me a lot of money to speak. For some organizations, I say, man, it ain't about that. It's about the kids. It's about making an impact. I really believed in Charlie. And I'll be honest. I don't know how Charlie really felt about me. I really don't. He's texted me, every now and again. Every time I see him, he showed me respect. I showed him respect back. Nothing Charlie asked me to do, I would say no to. I say yes to everything Charlie did because I believed in him. Now, he's younger than me. I ain't got to believe it. I'm a grown man. I done more in life than Charlie has. But I respect his hard work, his work ethic. I say, man, look, young fella, I believe in what you're doing, man. You ain't got to pay me every time I do stuff. I go raise money when you ask me to go raise money because I really care about what y'all doing here. And you got people like Tucker, maybe because he gave $5 million. I mean, somebody gave me $5 million. Maybe it'd be hard for me to tell them they can't speak somewhere. But it's not about money. It's not about personalities. It's not about none of that. It's about the movement. It's about the young people who need to hear voices from people that inspire them to do better in their life. I never cared about these big amp fests and all that. That's all fun and game. That's the Super Bowl. You go and do the little thing. All these people get on stage. Some of them reading off a piece of paper like this, people falling asleep. It's not so that's not really the big part of it all. The part of it is that you get to go and mingle and connect with other young conservatives to feel empowered to go back to your community and do something. When I go on campus, it's not going on campus to say, I got you, look at me getting the leftist. It's to speak life to people and inform them. And the young people to support them and like, look, you got somebody that come to campus and stand up for you. I'm a grown man with kids. These are young people, but I'll stand up for you. Y'all know that B. Tatum got your back. You'll know that B. Tatum will stand in the fray for you. That's why I support that. But when I see this stuff, well, what are we doing? Charlie Kirk was a Zionist. Charlie Kirk believed in Israel. Charlie Kirk wouldn't be on stage cussing a kid out, talking about you want to whoop somebody because they talking about your daddy. But then you get the man who started the rumors in your stage and you don't even confront the guy. Charlie Kirk would never let Nick Fuentes get away with this. Why? Because Charlie Kirk had integrity. I would assume that everybody that get up and talk on behalf of Charlie Kirk would be somebody who had integrity like he did. But I'm just pointing out, the guy got people on his podcast talking about Jews created the AI to destroy the world, and then he don't say nothing. He just, that's interesting. But you bash Ted Cruz like that? A man who served his country for a long period of time. I met Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a good guy. I don't know him personally, but Ted Cruz is a genuine dude. Marjorie Taylor Greene ain't genuine. These people change on you. Y'all can't find nothing that I have ever said over here, and then I'm on the opposite side of it. That's because I'd have never said it over here if I wasn't convicted about it. Now, if something changed and the evidence changed, then I'll change it up. But I explained to you why I changed. But y'all sitting here listening to people that literally was this person, and then you blink and they this person. And they don't tell you how they got from here to here. How do you go from defending Israel on Fox News every day and talking about Islam is the biggest threat to America to now you're saying that Sharia law ain't really a big bad wolf and that the biggest threat is Jews? Don't even talk about Islam no more. Don't talk about Islamic terrorists. How did you go there? People over here, Zionists, everybody that's a Zionist are their best friends. And then they come over here one day and all of a sudden, Zionism is of the devil. How did you get from here to here without being fake somewhere in the middle? I'll say this, and then I want to get to this this interview that I think you guys will love to hear because it's invaluable to hear. Some of you guys have seen a little bit of it, but you don't want to miss it. I'm starting to think, and I guarantee you my staff will second me on this. I think like 80% of the people in the movement fake anyway. Do I get an amen? What percentage y'all have it at? 90? He was gonna go a little higher. Nick is burnt out, so he say 105%. What do you think? About 98%? They higher than me. Maybe I'm optimistic. And it's, I don't want to be saying this because I know a lot of people watching me and you really believe in these people. Man, I see these people drunk in the Trump Tower, Trump Hotel. So drunk they slurring and hitting the wall. Oh my God. I thought how you this drunk? You that drunk? Like you have no decorum? Stories people telling me about people swinging. What? They swinging? You were supposed to be a Christian. Y'all swing, what? People on private jets touching people in people's laps and doing all this stuff and they married. What? Are you serious? Oh, this person is taking money to do this? Oh, this person ain't really who you think they are? Behind the scenes, they doing this? This person screams and shames their staff to no end, screaming at these kids, shunning them. What? When I was in the studio, ain't nobody talking to me like that. They screaming at these young people like this, shaming them, irate. They in the bathroom with other boys doing somebody, one on their knees, one of them standing up. You know what I'm saying? Whoa. Whoa. They doing that? I swear, y'all, it's probably about 10% of the people that you watch on social media every day that's legit. I have people come work with me that have worked with other people, and they go, man, you one of the most authentic people that I've ever worked for. Like, you keep it real. These other people be doing stuff. And then they tell me, hey, did you know that this and this? What? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. What? Your favorite people ain't who you think they are. Now stay tuned to the end because I got something for you. But I want you guys to watch this interview because I don't normally dive into stuff like this. But when I read an article that they were racially discriminating against white people with organs, meaning affirmative action organ donation, which means that they were prioritizing organs to minorities when people need it more, but they want to make sure that they can equity and inclusion. So they let a person die and giving people organs because of the color of their skin. Y'all got to listen to this. I promise. And this will be lighthearted. Go ahead and roll it. Affirmative action for organs. Now, somebody somewhere explain to me how that make any sense. Are you telling me that a white person on the table and a black person on the table, and because of affirmative action, a black person get the organs over the white person? Make it make sense.
The Department of Health and Human Services announcing this week a major initiative to begin reforming the organ transplant system after an investigation revealed disturbing practices by a major organ procurement organization. The investigation examined hundreds of cases where organ donation was authorized but not completed. It found 73 cases in which a potential donor still showed signs of consciousness, and 28 instances when patients may not have been declared dead when organ procurement was initiated.
I don't understand. Like, your organs don't have a race. Not unless we live in a silly world. So it shouldn't matter if you're a black and brown body. If you need the organ, that should be prioritized. Like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Make sure you still subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Let's get into this. I heard about this story and it blew my socks off. And so not only am I going to talk about this story, I had to bring somebody on to help me make this make sense when it comes to affirmative action for organ donations. Like, like I don't understand. Like, your organs don't have a race. Not unless we live in a silly world. Last time I checked, your organs don't have a race. Maybe your skin, obviously the skin is considered an organ, but your organs that you need to transfer don't have a race. So it shouldn't matter if you're a black and brown body or not. If you need the organ, that should be prioritized. Now, let me tell you this. The American First League had to sue the Department of Health and Human Services, obviously under the Biden administration, because they're nutty. They had to sue them, and the lawsuit was filed on July the 1st, 2025. What they're alleging is that HHS did not disclose documents where they were promoting race-based equity policy when it comes to organ transfers. Like what kind of, and they FOIA requested it. So it's not that this was just some theology that Republicans have made up and then they filed in a lawsuit. Like, literally on August, I think it was around August 2023, they filed a FOIA request to say, show us the documents of you guys perpetuating this race and inclusion and ethnicity stuff in organ donations. The Biden administration, and they put this in documentation, so it's not me just making this up. It was in documentation. There was race and ethnicity as a factor in who received organ transplants. The AFL said that they violated federal law, which requires organ to be relocated by medical need and not race. Biden's executive order 13985 ordered all federal agencies to advance racial equity in their programs. And we have CMS and the HRSA issued internal memos that says equity and disparities, or at least they had a memorandum about equity and disparities in organ transplants, which is insane to me. And pretty much what the AFL is saying is that they're arguing that this is a part of DEI agenda and that we should be a colorblind healthcare system. And the funny thing is, if the white people were doing it to black people, they'd be mad. And when they do it in reverse, somehow it's fine. But if you don't believe me, I have a clip. Let's roll clip 1, because this is an actual news clipping of this actually happening. Roll the clip.
And Katia, what does this mean for organ donors?
Well, Andrew, it hopefully means more trust in the process. The Department of Health and Human Services is hoping to improve the organ transplant system. And if you have a donor symbol on your license, you're a part of that system. The Department of Health and Human Services announcing this week a major initiative to begin reforming the organ transplant system after an investigation revealed disturbing practices by a major organ procurement organization. The investigation examined hundreds of cases where organ donation was authorized but not completed. It found 73 cases in which a potential donor still showed signs of consciousness, and 28 instances when patients may not have been declared dead when organ procurement was initiated. House lawmakers holding a hearing on the issue Tuesday.
Y'all, this has to be one of the craziest things that I've ever heard in my life, and I have to have an expert come in to talk about these things. Let me introduce Kim Bright, founder of Brightcore Nutrition. She's going to be here with me to discuss some of these topics because they're blowing my mind. Kim, welcome to the show.
Well, hey, Officer Tatum, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it is my pleasure. Can we start with discussing affirmative action and organ donation? Like, what is that all about?
It's craziness from leftover stuff from the Biden administration where they were trying to use DEI and claim that, you know, the only right thing to do is not to base it on organ donation on the need for the person. Like if they really needed it, they needed it within a day or a week or whatever. You had to be a certain ethnicity or race in order to get it. And so this is crazy. Instead of a person that was in great need, he might be way down the line if his race wasn't correct. They wanted to move everybody up and leave the white people at the end. And so whether you needed it or not, it is nuts. So I think it should be based on need, don't you?
1,000%. I mean, like at the end of the day, our organs are our organs. Our organs have nothing to do with our skin pigmentation. It is insane for them to be pushing, in my opinion, reverse racism, or, you know.
Exactly. And, you know, they had a conservative legal group that was trying when Biden was in office to get this information, and they wouldn't give it to him. HHS wouldn't give it to him. They couldn't get it anyway. So finally, it's all coming out because RFK Jr.'s there. And now we're just finding out about this because that's what they were doing. And that was their plan. So, you know, and the whole thing, too, is it's just ridiculous the way that, you know, they built all this. But now I want people to know that, you know, if you're going to donate your organs, you need to really understand that an opt-out organ donation is on its way out. So people that don't want to do this, you need to make sure that you get into the opt-out because you'll automatically be an organ donor unless you opt out. And then we're going to have a mandatory organ donation to follow, it looks like.
And that's crazy. And I want to definitely play a clip that we have that expressed what a nightmare this is when people are being taken advantage of. I mean, literally, people are still alive to a certain degree because they're prioritizing getting fresh organs from the body to transfer to somebody else. So they're not even, in many cases, they're not even making sure the person is actually dead. I mean, there's signs of consciousness and everything like that. But we have a clip. Let's roll clip 2 and show what a nightmare this could really be if in full effect. Roll the clip.
A shocking case out of Richmond. A man was declared brain dead and was prepared to donate his organs, though hard to believe he was in fact alive.
36-year-old TJ Hoover had his life changed forever. On October 25th, 2021, he was admitted to Baptist Health Richmond's emergency room. He was experiencing cardiac arrest and was deemed code blue.
We were told TJ had no reflexes, no responses, no brain waves, no brain activity.
Because of that declaration, they decided to honor TJ's wishes as an organ donor.
We had his honor walk, but almost as soon as his honor walk started, his eyes started open, and not just open, he was tracking around looking to see, what was going on. And we were told that was just reflexes, just a normal instinct. He's not there.
But that wasn't the case. In fact, he wasn't dead. He was very much alive.
I feel like they were trying to choose my brother. They were going to sacrifice my brother's life to save how many ever other people. And
can you believe that, Kim? Can you believe that? literally the priority is no, let's get the organs out. It's just a twitch. That's insane.
Well, here's the thing too, Officer Tatum, is that they do a walk down a hallway. It's like the honor walk or something they call it. And right before they take him into surgery. And that's when this guy started opening his eyes because he was in overdose. He was in cardiac arrest from the overdose. So he woke up, but they were rolling him down there. And, you know, this isn't a solitary case. And they were trying to convince her and that no, this is just normal before we take their organs. Can you imagine if they hadn't insisted on it, that what would have happened to that guy? He's still here today with us, luckily. But it's not a solitary case. And there was a thorough investigation during the Biden administration showing that this happens all the time. And now RFK Jr. is going to reform that organ donation system after this federal investigation because it revealed so much disturbing practices. Crazy. And, you know, the findings show that hospitals allowed the organ procurement, like you said, to begin before the patient showed signs of life. And this is so horrifying. They had, out of 351 cases, more than 28 patients weren't even dead before the surgery began. So, you know, discuss taking care of your organs, not for donation, but to live longer and healthier.
Yeah, and I hope that people internalize that. You know, I don't know, even if you want to be an organ donor type of person, and that's what you want to do, which is fine. You're an American, you can choose, but your priority shouldn't be, well, I want my organs to be good just so when I die, but you want your organs to be good so you can live a long, healthy life for your family while you're here. You know, organ donation is literally for you to say, hey, I'm passed away. Now I want to give life to somebody else if I can. It's almost like a secondary thing for somebody else. It's not primary that you keep your organs safe in order to preserve, you know, someone else's life. But I want to move the discussion to these microplastics. And I think it's important for us to understand health and what it means to be healthy, because it's not just about the organ donation, which we've seen how crazy that gets. It's like, well, why are you alive? And even if you want to donate your organs, what are you doing to make your body healthy? And are you contaminating your body, which will make you live a less amount of time and also not be effective if you want to donate your organs? So we got another clip of RFK being against the microplastics that are in a lot of things that we consume. Let's roll clip 3.
His latest effort will be removing harmful microplastics found in our food, water, and even air.
We don't know the effects of microplastics in the human body, but we have disturbing studies that link microplastics to cancer, to dementia, and reproductive problems.
It's so great that he wants to go against the microplastics, right? Because it's crazy. Humans now ingest 6 times more microplastics than they did in 1990. Can you believe that?
It's crazy. And the funny thing is that some people are pushing back against RFK on this. Some people are upset that he has the nerve and the gall to even say that this is a problem that we need to look into. And there's obviously further studies of microplastics in the blood. And we have another clip for that because I want to show the people, you know, about.
Before you do that, can I tell you too, so people know?
Perfect.
In 96% of drinking water, that's bottled water, that's out of your tap, wherever, microplastics are showing up. And 88% of our meat, our seafood, and other protein sources. 88%.
You know, I wonder sometimes, Kim, is this intentional? You know, it's something that I think about often. Is it? Could it be? I don't know.
Could it be?
Let's play clip 4. I think this would be a good one. Roll it.
White ones. We've got clear ones.
Tons of microplastics wash ashore all over the world every day. And now for the first time, scientists in the Netherlands have detected microplastic pollution in human blood.
All the microplastics and nanoplastics we are exposed to, we inhale and we ingest, that actually, you know, there's so much plastic that it can even enter our bloodstream.
The Dutch study on blood samples from healthy adults detected tiny plastic particles in 80% of people.
80% of people have these microplastics.
Yes, and you know what? They actually have a name for this now. They're naming it plasticosis.
Oh my goodness.
How about that? And do you know that they have cadavers with microplastic plaque that they discovered, 450% of those people were more likely to have died from heart attack or stroke because of these microplastics in their arteries and veins. Crazy, huh?
It's incredible. And then we got another article here about how the microplastics are in the brain, which is, I would almost argue that this is probably one of the most detrimental places for microplastics to be, because the brain is the engine that controls all of your body. You know, your involuntary actions, the heartbeat, a lot of those things that are involuntary, breathing, a lot of that has to do with your brain. And when the brain dies or the brain gets infected, I mean, it's going to affect your body in a tremendously negative way.
That's right. And they're saying that you have 7 grams of plastic in our brain now. That's the size of like a heavy plastic spoon. And it's actually up from 2016. It's actually 50% higher now. So our brains now are 99.5% brain and the rest is plastic. But what I want to say too, which is crazy, once these microplastics get into our body, they don't remove themselves. Microplastics are going to damage your DNA. They're going to increase your risk of cancer, screw up your hormone levels. I mean, there are guys that just, they don't have testosterone. It's just so low. It's reducing their muscle mass and bone density. They're just falling apart. And, you know, but the good news is there's something we can do to proactively rid ourselves of these dangerous microplastics.
Yeah, and we got to talk more about that, because watching this and listening to this, I'm like, are we just doomed, or is there a way that we can mitigate this? Is there a way, you know, obviously RFK is doing his job by saying, look, we need to get rid of these microplastics in our food, our consumption, all of the above, and we need to recognize that it's happening. And I was, you know, one of the reasons why I brought you on, because I want you to explain to us, like, what can we do and what can be a solution to the freaking problem? Because, you know, everybody has a problem. Everybody can talk about the problem, but what can be a solution, Kim, to us mitigating us having plastic in our brain and our blood system?
Well, here's the thing. BPA is the most, you know, it's a known form of plastic, and it's there. But there's a traditional thing that is called Bacillus pumilus, and it's a unique strain of bacteria only found in kimchi. And BPA is degraded by this Bacillus pumilus. Kimchi is a centuries-old food from Korea, and there's a 2025 study that showed 2 other lactobacillus strains that were only found in kimchi that actually will absorb and excrete these microplastics from your body. That is a solution. These other 2 are Bacillus paracasei and Bacillus plantarum. And so this was so exciting to find this. And then this study was done within living bodies. So we know that it actually works. And kimchi is such a superfood, Officer Tatum. It's the #1 thing for your gut flora. It's got over 900 unique strains of beneficial bacteria. And you know, the whole thing you were talking about, the brain having the plastic in it. Well, guess where your health really starts is in your gut, and your sickness starts in your gut. And there's a connection with your gut and your brain, your gut and your skin. There's these communication lines. So the first thing that you want to make sure to clean up all the other areas, and also one to your heart, you want to clean your gut up. And so we've got a war that goes on in our gut between good guys and bad guys. This starts when we're born. So if we eat over-processed foods, if we're choosing to eat fast food all the time, if we're smoking, if we're drinking, if we're doing all these bad things for our gut, it destroys the good guys down there, and it gives an environment for the bad guys to grow. So you need to take something like kimchi, which I call it a special forces. Like, you know, you've got your army down there fighting the war, but when you've got too many bad guys down there, you got to send the special forces in. And I'm telling you, kimchi's like a special force, like a Navy SEAL going in there, because it's going to boost your immunity. You've got 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut. It's going to lower blood pressure, glucose levels, people that have problems with diabetes, triglycerides, and bad cholesterol. And it actually improves your skin and hair. This stuff has been around for centuries, and there's tons of information on it and tons of testing. And do you know that they actually just did a study that showed that when you're eating kimchi, it can reduce body fat by up to 31.8%. This is an actual study. So, that was exciting to me because we're 70% of Americans are overweight. So, I don't know if you've seen somebody that we all know to be a big figure in the health world, but he's also a big fan of this superfood kimchi. And I don't know if you've seen what RFK Jr. had to say on Fox and Friends about what changed his life, but he loves kimchi.
Yeah, I'm glad you said this because, I feel like I need to be taking some kimchi. And my wife, she's actually type 1 diabetic. And, I'm glad you said this because all the research that I've done, and I'm trying to, get into the health industry myself and do all this stuff to make sure I'm healthy. And the gut is so important. I think people don't understand it. They call it the second brain. It's like when you're having issues in your gut, and some people think they're tired or they're lethargic or there's something going on with their mind or they can't, process things. A lot of that is in the gut. But you mentioned RFK, and his thoughts about kimchi. I would think we got a clip. You guys got that clip of RFK? Okay, let's play the clip of RFK and what he said about kimchi because, this just bolsters the claim of how good kimchi is. Roll the clip.
Mainly meat and then fermented vegetable, anything fermented. So a lot of kimchi and all kinds of fermented vegetables. And it's really, I would say it's dramatically changed my, everything.
And the fact that, let me just say this, Kim, this is just my personal opinion. When I look at RFK workout routines, when I look at how healthy that dude is, and he's like in his 70s, isn't he? I think he's 60s or 70s.
He's 71 years old, and he's crazy healthy. And I'm turning 71 soon. So, I've been eating kimchi for almost 50 years. But I think we should all aspire to keep ourselves this healthy as he is. And there's just something different about people who consume the kimchi. And so we can see it in him. I mean, he's got a six-pack. He's got a six-pack.
I think we got a clip of him. I think we got a clip of him working out. Hold on. Before we play this clip, I'm kind of embarrassed a little bit because I'm 38 years old and I don't look that good. I'm just keeping it real. I mean, the guy next to him has to be probably in his 30s or 40s. I mean, he's 71 years old. Play that clip real quick. I want the people to see this because I think he's actually doing some workouts in this clip. 71. All the guys over here are laughing because a 71-year-old man is hanging upside down and doing pull-ups and all this stuff. I mean, that's people don't give him enough credit. That's quite impressive.
It's quite impressive. And do you know they've done tests where they introduce kimchi into human cells and test tubes, and it actually slows the aging of the cells. So you know what? Even if you're older than 71, it's never too late to start something that's going to help you age healthier. Or if you're young like you, Officer Tatum, do what you need to do now to continue living a healthy life. And kimchi, it should be a part of it every day. I mean, we are living in a world that's trying to kill us, whether on purpose or it's just developed that way. I tend to agree with you. I think we got some intentional people doing some intentional things, but there's poison in our air, our food, our soil, our medications that we're being told to take. And you're not going to avoid it, but you can do something proactive, because if you don't do something proactive, you're going to suffer consequences. And that's why we created Kimchi One, because there's so many Americans. The guy that I studied martial arts with is from Korea. back 50 years ago, and he was the top black belt. And he introduced me to kimchi when he took me to his home, and his mother and his mother-in-law and his wife made it. And I about fell off the chair because the smell of it is so weird. It's so different than what we grew up with. So I was, mannerly and ate it, but then all of a sudden my body just loved it and I couldn't get enough of it. But most people that I've tried to introduce it to like that are like, oh my God, I can't eat this stuff. I can't smell it. So we came up with a way to make it convenient. Put it in a capsule so you don't have to taste it. You don't have the odor. You don't have the mess. People that are on low sodium diets, this is great for, because kimchi, in order to ferment, it takes a lot of salt. So we've been able to take the salt out, unlike, homemade or store-bought kimchi. But we have helped so many people with their digestion, their regularity. They're not bloated anymore. They say they're not constipated. They don't have gas coming out both ends. They go out in public now, and they used to stay home a lot more because they'd eat something and then, here comes the gas. But also that people are telling us too, their immunity. People that used to get sick all the time, they don't get sick anymore. Again, 70-80% of that immunity is in your gut. They have energy again. They don't have chronic fatigue. They're active and living life to its fullest. Their skin's glowing. They look younger than they have in years. Their hair's growing back. I mean, I'm 71 soon. This is all my natural hair. This is not any of those, things that they, put into the people's hair now because their hair is falling out or it's thinning. But people are just feeling better and experiencing overall better health.
That is amazing. I'm gonna have to get some of this kimchi. I'm gonna have to try it. I'm gonna have to give it to my wife. I'm gonna have everybody here doing some kimchi because we need to live long and we need to be.
I got my muscles. I got a lot of strong muscle on me.
Right. We need to. You didn't put me on to something new. Now now I think I'm a kimchi fan. I mean, watching RFK and listening to the benefits and all the stuff we talked about earlier about, all the plastics in our blood and our brain. And, thank you so much, Kim, for coming on and kind of addressing some of these issues and letting us know about this kimchi thing. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna have to get some of this stuff. So
you're so welcome. And
so I'm gonna have to get some. I'm gonna have to get some from you. So as soon as we get off this interview, we're gonna have to talk about it because I want to not only get some kimchi from you, for us, everybody here, but I also want people that follow me to have access to it as well. So as soon as we get off the interview, I'm gonna have to follow up with you so we can get, maybe you can hook my people up a little bit with some kimchi.
I'm going to give you guys a special offer. You get 25% off by clicking the link below and using the code Tatum.
All right. We'll put it in there.
Yep, or call 888-751-4429 for up to 50% off, plus free shipping. And I'm even going to throw in a free bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 for the first 100 callers. Now, I've been an educator 50 years, and we love educating people. We like to talk to you. We want to make sure this product's right for you. So call now, 888-751-4429. Get up to 50% off, get free shipping, and get that free bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2.
Well, thank you, Kim, for doing that for my audience. I really appreciate it. We'll put the links for y'all that's watching. We'll put the links in the description section. Obviously, we have to do it, after the interview. But I really appreciate you coming on, Kim. Thank you so much for the insight. God bless you. God bless Brightcore. And maybe we'll hear from you soon.
All right. Have a blessed day. God bless y'all.
God bless you. Thank you. All right, y'all. The founder, Kim, just kind of sprung that on me while we were on the stream. And I didn't have a chance to get it all prepared for you. So in case you missed what she said when I interviewed her, I have it written down right here and we'll flash it on the screen. You guys get 25% off by clicking on the link in the description section and using code Tatum. Or you can call 888-751-4429 for up to 50% off plus free shipping. The first 100 callers. So if you want a discount and you love getting free stuff, come on. The first 100 callers will get a free bottle of vitamin D3 and K2. And also, if you want a little bit more education about this, you can also call 888-751-4429. That's 758-4429.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.